Hello, my name is Zac Head. I'm the Associate Pastor of Worship and Discipleship at Forest Lake United Methodist Church in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Today I want to talk to you about the Psalter reading that we are going to have in our traditional service this Sunday, which is June 14th, and it comes from Psalm 100. It's a short Psalter reading, it's only 5 verses, and it goes like this. Make a joyful noise to the Lord, all the lands. Serve the Lord with gladness. Come into God's presence with singing. Know that the Lord who made us is God. We are the Lord's. We are the people of God, the sheep of God's pasture. Enter God's gates with thanksgiving and God's courts with praise. Give thanks and bless God's name, for the Lord is good. God's steadfast love endures forever, God's faithfulness to all generations. Now, I'll be real with you. When I first read that this was going to be our Psalter this week, I was a little disappointed, to say the least. Mad maybe works better. We've had a rough few weeks, right? There's been civil unrest all around us. We have felt the pain and hurt that minorities in our society feel magnified. We've seen a sense of hopelessness come out of some of those situations. Now, don't get me wrong, we've seen some victories as well for those groups of people, some opportunities to say, we hear you, and some opportunities to amplify minority voices, and we've seen the fruits of that labor come about with different changes and different proposed changes around us. But still, to hear these words, make a joyful noise to the Lord. The Lord who made us is God. We should enter into God's gates with thanksgiving, and we should enter into God's courts with praise, give thanks, and bless God's name. Don't get me wrong, I know that we serve a great God, but is now the best time for this psalm? The truth is, I probably haven't needed this psalm as much as I needed it as I read it earlier this week. I was feeling bogged down in the hurt that people were expressing, the hatred that was bubbling to the top, the fights that I saw people get into, verbally at least, or on Facebook. Maybe some of you have been in those fights. I've been in one or two. Anyways, so I read this passage and I thought to myself, this is ridiculous. And so as I went about my work that day, there was a song that someone taught me in seminary that comes from some of these words that got stuck in my head. And it goes like this. I will enter your gates with thanksgiving in my heart. I'll enter your courts with praise. This is the day that the Lord has made. I will rejoice, for he has made me glad. That's not the song I wanted to be singing, but it was stuck in my head, and I kept finding myself humming it and singing it. And I realized after a while, I needed to hear about how great our God is. I needed to be reminded of everything that we have to be thankful for. I needed to be reminded that we are called to go to God in gladness and thankfulness. I needed to be reminded that God gives us reasons to be thankful and glad. I needed to be reminded that the worst is never the last. And this psalm has done that. And so as we gather and worship this week, and as we say these words of thanksgiving and praise together, let us be reminded that the worst is never the last. Amen.